Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Matt over here, Primal Athlete Training Center, www.primalatc.com. Hey, just returning from my son's preschool where I was a chaperone when they went to mail some letters to Santa Claus. So as I was driving away, I actually got a good email from a guy by the name of Luke. Luke has left some emails for me before and some comments underneath the YouTube videos, so I wanted to make sure I answered his question for him because it was a good one. It's actually based off of what we've been talking about the past few videos, which is explosion. And Luke asked the question, can you combine strength training and explosive movement training? Can you get strong and explosive at the same time? And the answer is yes. Now, some people say no. Some people say yes. And the answer is yes. I mean, you have to make sure that you do it right. So here's what we're talking about. You can look at this either as a season-long process, a weekly process, or a daily process. What we mean by that is, can you get strong or can you train for strength and explosion in the same day? Yes, you can. Can you train strength and explosion in the same week? Yes, you can. Can you train strength and explosion at the same times during the season? Yes, you can. Now, the problem comes in where some coaches and some athletes try to train strength and explosion with the same muscle groups in the same day. And that is where we see a lot of issues. Take, for example, if you were doing some heavy squats. Say you were working up to a heavy triple or a heavy single or a heavy double. So a heavy set of 2, heavy set of 3, heavy set of 1 with your squat. And then as a secondary movement, after doing all that heavy squatting, as a secondary movement, you do box jumps. Well, trying to combine those two, first of all, physiologically, from that standpoint, it just does not work. That's not the way that your body is programmed. That's not the way that your body works. That's the first part. But just looking at it from layman's terms, just from, just basic training experience, if you do a really heavy squat workout, and then immediately try to follow that with an explosive jumping movement, you are not going to have enough energy left over from the squats to make doing the jumps worth it. If you do the jumps first and you do a bunch of explosive movement, a bunch of explosive jumps, and then you try to move on as a secondary movement to a heavy squat workout, that's not going to work either. You're going to be too tired from the explosion to get as much as you can out of the strength. So what you can do is separate it, like I said, daily, weekly, or seasonally. Now, seasonally is the way that a lot of people do it. And again, you've got to make sure you do it right. So starting the beginning of the season with your basic strength work, tapering down to the middle of the season where you're doing about 50% strength, 50% explosion every week. And then toward the end of the season, mostly doing explosive work and sort of hoping that the strength work hangs on and carries through for the big meets at the end of each season. Weekly, that is similar to the programming that you'll find in the conjugate method, Westside Barbell Louis Simmons, where they have training days during the week that are dedicated 2 days a week to maximum effort upper body and lower body, and 2 days a week, which is the dynamic effort upper body and lower body. So on Sunday, they will do a explosive squatting movement, speed squats. And then 72 hours later, on Wednesday, they will do a heavy squat. They'll do a speed bench on a Tuesday, and then 72 hours later on a Friday, they will do a max effort bench. So they separate daily, where they have a heavy upper body day and a speed upper body day. They have a heavy lower body day and a speed lower body day. What we like to do at Primal, is actually combine the upper body strength with the lower body explosion in the same day. And then the second day per week, because we're only training twice a week during the season, the second day per week, we do the opposite. So we're doing the heavy lower body day with the explosive upper body day, training explosion and strength in the same day by making sure we're hitting 2 different muscle groups. So for example, if we're working up to a heavy single or a heavy double or a heavy triple with, say, box squats, we'll work our way up to a heavy triple with box squats. Well, we're not going to go and do some jumps right afterwards. We're going to say do an explosive push-up, a clapping push-up. We're going to be doing a push press or a push jerk, behind the neck jerk. Something immediately after that works on explosion, but using a different muscle group, using different parts of the body. So a heavy squat and an explosive upper body movement. The second day, we'll do a heavy upper body movement like a bench press or a heavy overhead press. And then we'll move on to an explosive lower body movement like a jump, and an explosive hex bar deadlift. We'll do it that way where, again, we're separating the muscle groups per day. The next week, we'll continue to try to increase our strength and continue to increase our explosiveness, our speed as we go through the season. So we're always making sure that we're trying to improve our strength as the season moves along. We're trying to improve our explosion as the season moves along, but we're doing so training strength and explosion in the same day. You just have to be smart about it. So Luke, thanks so much for the question, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks for sending in the email. If you guys have any questions, the school bus is pulling up now. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any comments, please leave them down below this YouTube video in the comment section, or you can send me an email to matt@primalatc.com. Hope your season's going awesome. Track meets start up here this week in New England, and before you know it, season's going to be over. Indoors this year in New England is only an 11-week season. Unless you make New England's, then it's 13 weeks. Very short season. You got to make sure you've got your training dialed in. You've got to make sure you've got a plan for practice. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and I'll make sure to answer it in a future video. Talk to you soon.